There we go. This is negative 11 plus 1. So the answer is going to be negative 10, isn't it? And the absolute value would be 10, wouldn't it? Does that make sense? But what algebraic step do I need in here to make sure I end up with 10? What's the algebraic step? Yeah, the opposite of negative 11 plus 1. That gives you 10, doesn't it? Negative 11 plus 1 is? Okay, so that equals 11 minus 1. You have to distribute it all the way through. Okay? Do you have to do this on every single one? Absolutely not. This one, if it was on a test, I would hope you do 6 minus 3. I hope you get 3 for the answer. Okay? There comes a time for overthinking, and there comes a time for common sense. And the overthinking would be right here. Oh, I mean the common sense, I'm sorry. So how far is it? We did this one, didn't we? We found the distance. And we just found the distance between A and B. If this is A, B, and C, you said, oh, I just know the difference is going to be, from here to here, it's going to be 4. Okay, that's great. And you found that by subtracting. It didn't matter how you subtracted because there's always going to be 4 if you use the absolute value, right? So far, so good? Everybody stepping on to the train for success? You ready to leave the station? Woo-hoo. Ready to go? Let's go. So on this one, this is where it kind of comes into play. The coordinates. And we just talked about it. How would you write this information, just like we did the homework question, using an absolute value symbol? How do you find the distance between 2 points on a number line? How do we find? If you have a number line, say it's 4. How do you find the difference between 4 and x? X minus 4. That works if x is bigger than 4, doesn't it? It makes it positive. How can you write it so it works even if x is less than 4? Absolute value. That makes sure it's positive if x is bigger than 4, or if x is less than 4, it makes sure it's positive. And then, at most 2. So it'll be less than or equal to 2. Okay? That's absolute value's job, is to make sure no matter what the distance you're covering, it works. This is pre-calculus stuff, needed before the subject of calculus is taught. This is in the opening chapter of calculus, working with the absolute values, okay, to ensure that it's always positive. All right, so this is just a little brush up. I don't think there's another one on here. So how about this one? This is where the wheels kind of fell off. And we're at the end of the day, and I couldn't save the topic, so I said we just wait till tomorrow. Now we got additional people here to help us. 5 minus x. It looks like it's on a number line, right? The difference between 5 and x. But x is on which side of 5? Right side. So x is here. So is this going to be a positive or negative number if I put in, say, 7? It's going to be negative, isn't it? Well, I need that to be a positive answer when I'm done. It has to be positive when I'm done, because when you remove the absolute value symbols, you have to have a positive number, right? So, how do I rewrite this? It's starting out negative inside of here. How do you make a negative turn into a positive? Yeah, you take the opposite of it, don't you? The absolute value allows you to do that. So I can pick the 5 minus x. And when I simplify it, I get negative 5 plus x. Is that going to be a positive expression if I have a number bigger than 5? Yeah. If I put in 7, it works. It's positive. If I put in 12, it's positive. It works. And you say, yeah, but how do you know when to do that? You have to take a look. You have to think about it. On this one, 7 plus x, and x is bigger than negative 7. All the way down here is negative 7. X is bigger than negative 7. So here's x. If I pick x anywhere along here, Is that expression going to be positive or negative? Any number I pick. Courtney, if I pick any number along here, any number all the way out here, and put it in for this expression, it's going to be a positive or negative number. Positive. And we said that if we had a positive number, if it's a positive number, you just have to not worry about it because it's going to come out positive when you get rid of the absolute value symbols. So in this case, this is easy. 7 plus x, I don't have to worry about it because it's positive, and my final answer is 7 plus x. It seems like overkill on the absolute value, doesn't it? That stuff is needed, though, for another topic later on. Okay? So, that's the absolute value. Does it sort of stick a little bit? I know it seems like you're using a big hammer to hit a heavy nail, but it's going to come up later on. For instance, let's do this. Let's say you want to write x minus 4 and x was less than 4. Okay? How would you write that without absolute value symbols and your expression has to be positive? How would you do it? Cool? Right. Why do you need the negative here? Because when you get rid of the absolute value symbols, it has to be positive when you're done. Okay? So then your answer would be negative x plus 4. So whatever number I pick, 3, 2, 1, that is going to be a positive number. I helped somebody this morning with this. The absolute value of x minus 4 greater than negative 1. They said, I can't figure this out. So there's nothing to figure out. The problem's done. And they looked at it. Oh, no, I'm supposed to do this. X minus 4 greater than negative 1, or x minus 4 is less than 1. I'm supposed to do that. No. You're supposed to read it and understand what the question says. Does everybody see that this question is all real numbers? Is there any way this is going to be smaller than a negative 1? No. It's the smallest it can be is 0, right? I think everybody's tired from a long week. All right, that's okay. We'll finish strong, okay? Finish strong. Here we go. Let's try this one. Let's get away from the absolute values for a while and let's try this. Are you ready? We're going to use a calculator in just a moment also. So is this a true or false statement? AB plus AC all over A. Does it equal B plus C or not equal B plus C? Give yourself just a moment. Yeah? I got a yes and I got a no.
Well, it can't be yes because...
It can't be yes?
The A doesn't have a B or C next to it, so they
Can't cancel out. Okay? Somebody's from the yes camp. Why? So if this is true, you'd get the same thing? That's how it would work. That's one approach. Yeah?
You just take the A's out from the numerator and get B plus C.
Oh, back to this? Yeah, that's another approach. Then cross off the like factors. I think either way works. So I would probably go with yes on this one. Okay? Now, if you're ever unsure about what to do on these questions, you can also put numbers in for the letters. Okay? Put in like 1, 2, and 3 for A, B, and C and see if it works. All right? So that's a good one. That's algebraic simplification. Let's go to another one. Is this true? Oh, it looks like it's not true. A plus C divided by B plus C, does it equal AB plus C over D? Is that true? Why would you say no? Because it says so right here? That could be a typo. You never know. Yeah?
Because the one on the left side, it's, you don't have separate fractions to where...
All right, let's say you were to separate this into two fractions. What would it be? A over B plus D plus C over B plus D. that doesn't equal A over B plus C over D. Okay? It's not too difficult at all. So those are not equal. Exactly what you thought. Good. Here we go. The calculator. Express the answer in scientific notation for sig figs. So, you remember yesterday where I showed you the square root button was? Where is it? Kind of vaguely. Left, right, up, down, side, middle. Left side, second, square root. Good. Do you remember where the absolute value symbol was? Math, and then number. Absolute value. Okay? So I take 3.45 minus 1.2 times 10 caret 4. Notice I use the caret button on the right side to raise it to a power. And now I'm going to close the absolute value with a right-hand parentheses that's in the middle of the calculator. Those parentheses are in the middle of the calculator because they are crucial to the success of calculating on this calculator. Okay, they're crucial. And then I'm going to put plus, and watch how I'm going to do this last one. I'm going to do 10, and instead of putting times 10, or actually I'll just do 10 to the 5th. I was going to do something else, but that's okay. 10 to the 5th. And then I close it off with a right-hand parentheses. Now some of you have calculators that have a box in them. And once you start filling in that box, this thing grows. Well, my calculator, it doesn't grow. That's why I have to use these parentheses at the beginning and at the end. Okay? You do, because you have to shut the absolute value off after 10 to the 4th with the parentheses. Right. Did you shut it off? Yeah. You had to shut it off somewhere.
I pushed the arrow over. right.
And that's the same thing as putting in parentheses. Okay? And then, when you get your answer, enter 334.6588.562. How do you write this? Oops. How do you write this in scientific notation? Do you remember with 4 significant figures? Do you remember? That's like pointing. Okay, where would that point to? The 4 digits would stop right here, wouldn't it? Is that what you're pointing to? Okay. So now I got 334.7. Now I go to scientific notation. 3.347 times 10 to the second. I use an asterisk for multiplication because it's like a TI symbol. Anybody else get that, or am I way off? I'm finding the answer to the question. I'm off? I'm just trying to type this in the calculator and see what I get. Mind powers. I love it. Did you get this when you did it, calculated mentally? Good. One person agrees with me. Anybody else? Okay, good. Fantastic. Now, if you make a mistake in typing it in, I'm not sure if I showed you this or not, but I need to show some people because some people will abuse this. I have no doubt. It is possible to get detention on these calculators. If you made a mistake, you can go second and enter and bring back the last thing you typed. You can go second and enter and scroll back to the second thing you typed. You can go second and enter to the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth. You can keep going. Some calculators back to 25 entries. Why is that important? Because some of you will figure out how to text on these and leave messages for people when they turn it on. If you don't clear out the message, it's in the history of the calculator. If I walk by and say, oh, I can't do this, and I say, okay, let's scroll back and get a calculation, and bingo, pops up, I'm like, whoa, this has to be taken care of. I saw a kid, true story. Kid, I said, give me your calculator. He goes, no! And he runs to the corner and starts doing this. He's going nuts, just hitting it, just going nuts. Just trying to clear out the whole history of the calculator. And I said, okay, that's enough. So But anyway, you can scroll back if you've made a mistake. You don't have to retype the whole thing in. All right? Good. Oh, I was supposed to ask, does anybody need to borrow a calculator? I got some over there. Huh? For the year? Oh, okay. I think I have one. All right, so there's absolute values, square root. We learned how to scroll back to another entry. And let's do another calculation. Ready? This I'm going to do a little different. I'm going to use a scientific notation button on the calculator. All right? So I'm going to hit View, Show Hide. There's an E button on your calculator, so 1.791, 1.791, and the double E button is above my comma. I hit second, enter, E2. Well, I'm going to show you something else in just a minute, okay? No, you're supposed to put 1. That means times 10 to the second times 9.84 e to the third. Okay? That means times 10 to the third. You can use that button, you can type out times 10 to the third. But some kids get really lazy with that extra button push. They want to like take it easy. So, when you see that, you press enter. It says there's a syntax error. Syntax means you type something incorrectly. I know. I have an extra decimal. I'm going to show you something. If you have a syntax error, you have two options. You can quit the calculation, or you can say, go to the error, and I'll try to help you. It'll say, look, that's the problem. I can't do it. You press delete, and you get your answer. Okay? The E came from above the comma. There's two E's there. And if you want to go to mode, you can go to mode and you can change it to scientific notation, and you can change the number of digits or decimals. You can go 1, 2, 3, and watch what happens when I hit it now. Enter. It gives it to me in scientific notation, 1.762 e to the 6. Okay. So you can do it in scientific notation also. Mode. I've never done engineering. I don't know if there's a difference or not. No, there's not a difference. But usually we like to be in normal and we like to be in float. If you're ever unsure, your calculator should have everything on the far left highlighted. Okay? I wouldn't loan these calculators to anybody in calculus. They'd mess it up. I know, mine is special. Okay? Because in calculus, I need to do simulated graphing. All right? I need to graph 3 things at once and all at the same time. So, did I show you this part about the graph? Well, here's a common trick that people get really frustrated with. Anyway, they go to graph, and they get a picture. Well, if you loan your calculator to somebody, odds are they'll put like a decimal point there at the very end, and you won't see it, and they'll scroll back up, and they'll smile and give you back the calculator. They know that when you go to graph, it'll come up with a syntax error. And what you'll do is you'll be stubborn. You'll hit enter, y equals, thinking you can fix it yourself, retype it, hit graph, and now you're mad. Remember, I said just press go to. It'll tell you where the problem is. There's the problem. Just press delete, graph, and you get your picture. Okay? So syntax error is one of the most common mistakes on the graphing calculator, typing things in incorrectly. All right? Questions about that? All right, good. Moving on. Oh, we get an answer for this one? View, show hide, second quit. There we go. 1.762 e to the 6. Okay? Great. Ready to move on? Let's move on. Express the number in scientific form. 85, 200. Well, how many decimal places do you want to go to? 85, 200. Mode, I don't know, scientific. 3 sig figs or 4? You want to go 3 or 4? Sounds good. Then quit. There we go. So it's 8.520 e to the 4th. Okay? Or you don't have to do it like this, There are some people that are fractionally challenged, and there are some people that are scientific notationally challenged. Okay? So I'm hoping that you guys don't get caught in that. And the other one, the old school way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5.5 times 10 to the negative 6. You can do it old school, you can do it new school. All right? You have these things for a reason, to learn how to use them.
What's the negative?
Because it's smaller than 1. Okay? It's positive over here because it's bigger than 1. That's how I remember it. So far, so good? Fun day in day 2 of the pre-calculus textbook. Express the number in decimal form. I'm not sure if it'll take this one. 2.3 second e to the 7. Mode, normal. Second quit, enter. It does! Look at that. I got to go back to float. Mode, float. There we go. It works. And then you can just take your finger and drag your display onto your paper like I do, and then you'll be fine. Okay? That was a joke. Some people are looking at me real serious.
Wish you could do that.
Can you do what? Go back up? Sure. Now, these are nice ones to have in your notebook, because if I say 5 through 10 multiples of 5, that one's already done for you. That's free points. Okay? You remember I said next week, on probably Wednesday, will be your first grade since the test, and it'll be a homework check. And if there's like 60 problems to do, I'll say, all right, let's do multiples of 7. So 10 problems would be 7 through 70 multiples of 7. So any multiple of 7 I do, you already have done, you can copy over to your sheet and you can hand it in. That's supposed to help you take notes and be active in doing your homework. Right? You might have 1 or 2 to do, but most of them should be done ahead of time. This one, 9 places to the right, or left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2. There you go. 9 zeros, right? Except the first one has a decimal after it. 8 zeros before the decimal. I said 9 zeros with 1 decimal point after it. Okay? So you can go old school, new school, doesn't matter to me. Questions on the calculator, questions on the topic? Yeah.
Okay, if I put that in, and it gave me 7.01.
Right, because the display went up to 7, but it won't go to 9 zeros. Okay? All right. Moving on. Oh, that's it. Homework. All right, so at the end of the lesson, on day 1 of a lesson, I usually lecture the whole period, okay? I usually do lecture and, homework questions, things like this. On day 2 is when your quizzes are going to take place, all right, on a section. Why? I usually have enough time to get a quiz in right now, which I do, but we don't have the material to go over it. And I'll be very clear about something. This goes a lot smoother when you don't try to, how should I say it, become irresponsible. Because when I ask you to do this on, and don't tell the other classes, so day 1 of section 1, 2 will be on the 6th of September, right? That'll be Tuesday. Wednesday will be the second part of that lesson. So I'll ask you to do 5 or 10 questions from 1-1, section 1-1. You get it? So you have a couple days to learn it, ask questions over it before you're actually asked to give me an assessment on it. I don't ever say tear out your homework and hand it in, unless it's a worksheet and I'm gone. So you can use your notes, you can use your homework, you can use your textbook, except you can't flip pages, to answer the questions I'm going to ask you on the 7th. Okay? First negative response is somebody wants to take an extra day off. That's fine. They come in, I say, quiz time. Oh, I wasn't here yesterday, I'm exempt. No, it was last week. You're taking it. Okay? Or I was gone on Thursday. I was at the, where were you at? I was at the Farm Progress Show. I said, well, you've had your 2 days to get caught up, and now you're eligible to take it. See how it works. It avoids any confusion. Let's say you're absent on this day. And then I'll get you on the next day, or the next day I'll get you on. But I'll forget the numbers. I'll say, I don't know, just do 4 through 40 multiples of 4. So they're all evens. If you're here, I'll probably ask you for like odds and evens, something like that. So does everybody understand that right now, this was next week on the second day of the section, you'd be getting out a piece of paper, you'd be getting your calculators out, I'd say, okay, go back to page 16, here's your first chance to add points to your grade from your debacle of a test. Or here's a chance to add to your impressive trig grade because you did well on the test, okay? And then off you go. You hand in the piece of paper. If you're on that side of the room, it goes to the fridge. This side of the room goes to the microwave, or it goes to the stereo, okay? And that's it. And then you start working on your homework. Any questions about anything?